to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who is, man, not only a killer musician, not only has he played with pretty much everybody, but he's here today for the new Michael Monroe album, which is badass. And so let's welcome to the show, Steve Conte. How are you?
Hey, how are you, Dean, and everybody listening out there in Radio Land?
So, yeah, I love that we both went to Rutgers. I noticed that I was like, okay, that's cool. Because I don't know, to me, there's nothing like a Jersey dude.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from New York, upstate Jersey, and Manhattan for 30 years, and now I live in the Bronx. So, you know,
nice.
I did live in Europe for 3 years too, which was nice. I live in the Netherlands.
Oh yeah, I love the Netherlands. I've lived there like a few months out of the year, a few years, just to get away from the craziness.
I moved there right after. I'm sure we're going to touch on this, but I was playing with the New York Dolls, and when the New York Dolls ended for me, and I started playing with Michael, who was based in Finland, Michael and Sammy. My wife, who is from the Netherlands, you know, she loved the idea of going back there for a few years, and it was very convenient because we were doing a lot of European touring. So we lived there in the south of Holland there for 3 years, and then we moved back to Manhattan.
I love it. I love the Netherlands, except for the weather. Like,
it's like London. It's like England weather, you know.
No doubt.
Gray and rainy.
The last time I was there, I don't know, I'm an idiot. I live in South Florida. I'm the opposite of a snowbird. Like, I'm in Florida when everybody else isn't, all the idiots are gone. And then I go to cold weather places during the winter. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking, but like,
well, come to Finland then, man.
Right?
That's where we end up playing in the winter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Why couldn't Michael have been Brazilian or something? You know?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I was in Netherlands for 2 months, and for that 2 months, I saw 3 hours of sunlight total. And I was like...
in the summer, you get about 2 weeks of really good weather.
Right?
Yeah. Because I go there every summer because my wife visits her family, and I play with Michael. We play festivals in Finland all summer long on the weekends. So I just go back and forth between Amsterdam and Helsinki, you know, every weekend.
And I cover festivals all over the U.S. and all over the world. And I saw Michael do a press conference. Well, I saw the set too, but press conference at Hellfest a couple of years ago when I was there.
Oh, yeah. In France, yeah.
And that was the most fun press conference I ever did. Just saying.
Nice.
It brought me back to the good old days.
Yeah. We still live them.
You know? Well, that's what I love about Europe too. Is like a lot of these bands that I thought were gone from the '80s that I hung out with on the Sunset Strip. They all have just been in Europe all these years because they love music there.
Well, yeah. I mean, America's so fickle with, you know, what's the latest trend in hip hop and dance and EDM and, you know, social media and models and, you know, young kids music. And yeah, I mean, it's all fine. I mean, I know that's what happens, you know, in the world, but it's too bad that, you know, rock and roll, of course, is way down. You know, it used to dominate. I mean, rock and roll was what the radio was in the 70s, you know, and the 60s, and the 80s, and the 90s, you know. But now it's a little 5% or 10% of the marketplace, you know, really. So, you know, you go where you're selling, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the Europeans, they just love their music. Like,
yes, they do. They do.
And the festivals. What I love about it there too is like I was interviewing Jacoby Shags from you know, he was in a festival out there, and he's like, yeah, it's really cool when you can play right after Earth, Wind and Fire just played. You know, it's like that you can mix the genres we were so screwed up back in the 80s, at least in LA, with the genre bullcrap, like
I remember.
it was ridiculous.
My band, Company of Wolves, suffered from that. We were on Mercury Records right after Michael's Not Faking It album. We had the same record company, same A&R guy, same everything. And, they didn't know how to market us. They didn't know how to market Michael either, apparently. But, if you weren't a metal band, they didn't know what to do with you, because that's what was happening. So, we were like jeans, T-shirts, boots, maybe leather jackets, kind of, simple down-home rock and roll guys. We liked, Georgia Satellites and Creedence and, the Stones. And, they wanted to stick us in these metal magazines with all these glammy dudes, And so we kind of got, called hair metal just because, we did have some long hair. And it got bigger as the time went along. But, we were just a rock and roll band. And then, of course, grunge came and just killed everything. And but if you want to get into the Michael record, I got about maybe 10 minutes.
No, I do. And because It's badass. I was listening to it and like, I am so, I'm so enamored at artists that after all these years can still create new music. It's like, I think, wow, it must be really hard after you've written all this music and to even think of more ideas. And here you did a stellar performance of creating Outerstellar.
Thank you. Yeah. Rich Jones and I are a good team for that. We write together, we write separately. Michael and Sammy chime in. Carl, we got 2 like band co-writes, but I think I have 3 songs that I brought in that are mine, and Rich has a bunch that he brought in. But it's kind of the first album in a long time that we've done where it's real collaboration, because a lot of the stuff during the COVID era, we just had to send in our demo tapes that we made, at home. Rich would be like, here's the song and here's the parts that you're going to play. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or, vice versa. I would send in my songs. I'd say, Rich, here's the parts, that you're going to play, and here's the songs. But this time we got in a room and we got to write some stuff as a band, like One More Sunrise. We all came up with the music to that together, and Rocking Horse. Then I went home and wrote the lyrics and melodies to Rocking Horse, and me and Rich wrote the lyrics to One More Sunrise. And, Black Cadillac is mine. I gave Carl a % because he came up with the drum beat, but that's my music lyrics. Till When the Apocalypse Comes is mine, and Black Cadillac is mine. The rest are Rich's. Some great stuff of his too. Shinola and Precious and Road to Ruin are some of my faves. But it's a nice journey that we take you on. It's not just like, 10 songs of, pop punk shoved down your throat. It's a bit of a roller coaster, which I love it.
That's old school to me, because it's like albums used to be like you just sat there and listened to the whole album over and over and over.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I loved, Physical Graffiti by Zeppelin, or the Beatles' White Album. It's like so many different styles. It's not just like, one good song and then 9 other songs that sound like it, but not as good.
Right.
Which is a lot of bands fell into that trap, I think, in the 80s and 90s.
I think it's true today. You take these metal bands today, some of them, I feel like they follow this formula, whereas metal back in the 80s was, experimentation. It wasn't a formula, so you did have different songs and different music.
Yeah.
So what inspires you today to write new music that is different from way back when you first started doing it?
Well, when I first started writing, I was 10 years old. I started writing my first songs and made my first album in the family living room on a cassette with all the players sort of had to be positioned around the cassette. So the drums were at the back of the room. They weren't too loud. And whoever was singing was up front, so you could hear the vocals. And I was very Beatle influenced back then. So I had a good foundation of melodies, chords, phrasing, lyrics, And as time went on, I got into different stuff. I got heavily into Zeppelin and the Stones and then more, jazz fusion as far as guitar playing goes. But what inspires me now is depending on the project I'm writing for. I mean, when I write for Michael, I have to keep his voice in mind, his vocal range and the things he likes to sing about. He doesn't really like to sing about love. There's not really many love songs in the Monroe canon. So, I'm always thinking about what he's going to sing when I write for him. And when I write for my band, I'm on Little Steven's label, Wicked Cool Records. I put out a number of albums under my name, Steve Conte. But I have a new band. I'm working on a new record with my new band, yet to be named. And when I write for them and for us, that's more just straight up good feeling rock and roll. I don't care about what I'm singing as long as I really mean it. It could be about love. It could be about anything. It could be about truth. It could be about social issues. I have no filter as far as when I write for myself. And then my band Company of Wolves is writing a new record too.
Nice.
And we're kind of going back to our old vibe because the first album was that was established our sound, and the second album sort of wavered from it a little bit, and we're back to, so I like the kind of guidelines because I could write so many different, I write jazz songs, I write country songs, I write pop songs. It just depends on what I'm writing for,
I love it.
In that way.
Well, I love it. You're doing more than ever now, and that's so cool. And this new band and this new album, Outerstellar, is amazing. Just came out. Everybody's got to check it out. Everybody's got to check out all your new music that's coming out. And listen, thanks for giving us such great therapy for all these decades.
Yeah, Dean. Well, my pleasure, and I'll continue to do the same as long as I'm standing on my 2 feet, man.
There it is. Well, keep doing it, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
All right. Thanks, Dean, and everybody out there listening. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.